You're probably familiar with common punishments like detention or even jail time. Maybe you've even heard of barbaric historical sentences: hanging, burning, stoning, the stuff of nightmares, right? But here's the chilling truth. These weren't the worst. History is filled with unimaginable cruelty, and humans have pushed the boundaries of punishment to terrifying extremes. From fiery bulls to insect-infested nightmares, today we're uncovering the darkest and most brutal torture methods ever devised. Some of these methods are so twisted, they'll make your blood run cold. So, brace yourself, because this isn't just history. It's a chilling glimpse into the darkest corners of human ingenuity. These methods weren't just about punishment. They were designed to instill fear, control societies, and send a brutal message to anyone who dared to disobey. Each method was more gruesome than the last, and the stories behind them are just as horrifying. Let's dive in. Among the most horrifying torture methods in human history lies the Brazen Bull, a device as twisted as it is infamous. Originating in ancient Greece, this grotesque contraption was designed by Perillus of Athens and allegedly commissioned by the tyrant Phalaris of Sicily. At first glance, it resembled an oversized metal bull, but its purpose was far more sinister. Victims were forced into the hollow metal beast, and once sealed inside, a fire was lit beneath it. The metal heated up rapidly, roasting the person alive. To add to the macabre spectacle, the bull was engineered with a series of pipes that transformed the victim's agonized screams into sounds resembling a bull's roar. This horrifying music was meant to entertain onlookers while masking the harrowing cries of the condemned. The Brazen Bull wasn't just a tool of execution, it was a chilling statement of power and cruelty. Legend has it that the device's inventor, Perillus, became its first victim after Phalaris tested its effectiveness on him. A grim irony that underscores the device's savagery. The Brazen Bull remains a haunting reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty, a symbol of a time when innovation was wielded in service of unimaginable suffering. Boiling to death stands as one of the most horrifying and visceral torture methods ever conceived, showcasing the brutal extremes of human cruelty. This macabre practice was employed in various parts of the world, particularly during medieval times, as both a punishment and a stark warning to others. The process was as gruesome as it sounds. Victims were either submerged in a cauldron of already boiling liquid or placed in a cold liquid that was then gradually heated. Water, oil, or even molten lead were commonly used, ensuring prolonged agony as the heat slowly cooked the body. This form of execution was often reserved for those accused of severe crimes, such as treason, witchcraft, or poisoning. In 1531, King Henry VIII of England even passed a law making boiling the official punishment for poisoners. Historical records recount horrifying instances where crowds gathered to watch these grisly public spectacles, with the sheer brutality serving as a stark deterrent. Boiling remains a chilling testament to the darker chapters of human history, where punishment transcended justice and delved into the realm of unspeakable suffering. Rat torture is one of the most disturbing and grotesque execution methods in history, illustrating the depths of human cruelty. This method was used primarily in ancient times as a brutal form of punishment and interrogation, designed to extract confessions or inflict maximum suffering on the victim. The torturer would place a large rat in a confined container, such as a cage, and secure it against the victim's body, often targeting the chest or stomach. The rat, in a desperate attempt to escape, would burrow into the victim's flesh. To make the torture even more unbearable, heat was sometimes applied to the container, causing the rat to become frantic and more aggressive, digging deeper into the victim's skin. The process could go on for hours, and in some cases, the victim would die from the resulting wounds or shock. Rat torture was famously used during the medieval and Renaissance periods, with some reports even suggesting its use during the Inquisition. It was seen as a particularly terrifying method because of the psychological and physical torment it inflicted, leaving victims in a constant state of panic and pain. This execution method, marked by its cruelty and the primal fear of rats, remains one of the darkest examples of torture throughout history. The choke pear, also known as the pear of anguish, is one of the most grotesque and brutal torture methods in history. Used during the medieval period, this device was designed to cause excruciating pain and was often employed as a form of punishment for women accused of witchcraft, blasphemy, or other crimes considered heinous by the authorities of the time. The device was a metal instrument shaped like a pear, with its leaves expanding when the device was turned or twisted. The victim was forced to insert the pear into their mouth, rectum, or vagina, depending on the form of punishment intended. Once in place, the device was slowly opened by a screw mechanism, which would cause the metal parts to spread, crushing, tearing, and inflicting intense internal damage. The pain caused by the expanding metal was unbearable, and in some cases, it could lead to internal bleeding, permanent damage, or death. The choke pear was a form of psychological and physical torture, as it not only caused immense bodily harm, but also played on the victim's fear and humiliation. Often, the victim's suffering was prolonged for as long as the torturers desired, making it a slow and agonizing method of execution or punishment. This horrifying device was eventually outlawed as society began to reject such barbaric forms of torture. But it stands as a terrifying reminder of the extreme lengths to which human cruelty can go in the name of punishment and control. Sawing in half is one of the most gruesome and horrific execution methods in human history, designed to prolong suffering and inflict maximum pain. This brutal form of punishment involved a person being suspended upside down or bound to a table while a large serrated saw was used to cut through their body, typically starting from the groin area. The sawing process could take several minutes, causing unimaginable pain as the saw cut through flesh, muscle, and bone. Victims often remained conscious throughout the ordeal, heightening the agony. This method was commonly reserved for those who were seen as traitors or criminals, serving not just as a form of execution, but also as a terrifying public spectacle meant to instill fear in others. Sawing in half was a chilling reminder of the lengths humanity has gone to in history to carry out cruel and inhumane forms of punishment. It's chilling to think about the lengths humanity has gone to in the name of justice, or, in many cases, cruelty. These methods of torture and execution remind us of a darker time in history, where fear and pain were tools of power. While these stories are disturbing, they also serve as a stark reminder of how far we've come in valuing human rights and dignity. Understanding the past helps us shape a better, more humane future. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content that dives deep into history's shocking and untold stories. And let me know in the comments, what's the most surprising torture method you learned about today? Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, but hopefully far away from these twisted tales of history.